Hello, everyone. Adam here, your host of the Baseball World Today podcast. Hope everyone's doing all right. As you know, a lot happened today in the baseball world. I was not planning on making a podcast today, but my hand was forced, and I'm very happy to be able to make one today. So let's get into it. One thing though, before we start, I plan on having all the podcasts now on YouTube. The last two are on it. I'm going to put all the previous ones on YouTube. So again, feel free to comment or anything. I also plan on putting some on TikTok. So if you want to follow me, it could almost be like a notification that these are out. Any support is obviously very much appreciated. So let's just get into it. The big news of the day. The news no one saw coming. No one. Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco were traded to the Mets in a package that included Jimenez and Ahmed Rosario, who will go to the Mets. Jimenez had an incredible rookie season. Ahmed Rosario has always been very Who cares if you're the Mets, man? Who cares what you gave up? You just got a Hall of Fame talent, Francisco Lindor, and a very, very good starter to go in an already pretty good rotation of Carlos Carrasco. I think Carlos Carrasco is an underrated part of this trade, but there's a reason he is. Francisco Lindor, top 3 all time in WAR for a shortstop of his age. He is on a Hall of Fame pace. There's not much more to say. There really isn't. Incredible hitter, incredible defender. There's not much. I'm not sure if I should say incredible. He's a very good hitter to go along with great defense at the shortstop position. Oh, also only 26 kids. Now the Mets are obviously going to want to try and re-sign him the way the Dodgers did with Mookie Betts. But man, if they do, they're going to have a good one for probably 10 years. And it'll be very much worth whatever they give him, whatever they gave up in this trade. He's going to fit that. However, I do think the Mets still need to make another move. I still think Springer would be a good move to make. They'll still have some money, even if they sign Lindor. So I think if they get Springer, man, or even they're probably out of the mix on DJ now because the outfield defense would really struggle if they put JD in left and then Nimmo in center. But man, they could do that. I think Springer definitely makes a lot more sense now. But if Steve Cohen says we're doing it and picks them up, which he already has basically said we're doing it, but that isn't going all in. But man, this is an incredible day for the Mets. This is just an incredible day for them. At the moment, I'd put them in the top 4 of NL teams. I have the Mets, Padres, Dodgers, and Braves in my top 4. I think they're about even with the Braves right now. However, if they go out and get a Springer and also improve the bullpen, yeah, they'll be in front of the Braves. The thing is, if you're an NL team, you really don't want to make the wild card this year because you're playing either the Padres or the Dodgers. And you're probably losing to either the Padres or the Dodgers, quite frankly. Now, I say that, and the Mets have Jacob deGrom in a one-gamer, so it's tough to pick against them, but you really especially want to avoid the wild card this year, unless they go to the format they had last year, which I kind of hope, because I feel like some really good teams are going to miss out on the playoffs this year. I'm starting to hope they go back to that format, because I just think those series should just be so incredible, so I hope they do that, but that's kind of besides the point. Man, another thing I'm going to mention, Carlos Carrasco had a bad season in 19. Otherwise, has always been an incredible pitcher. Just such an underrated part of this trade. Right now, the Mets have a playoff rotation of Jacob deGrom, Noah Syndergaard, Carrasco, and Stroman. And then they have Matz, who I've never really liked, but still has some potential. Man, this team is going to be very stacked if they still make the 1 or 2 more moves, which they are very capable of doing so. Now it's time to talk about the Indians, though, and specifically the positions the Indians versus the Mets owner have taken. the Indians had a good team. They really did. They really did. They didn't really care. I'm not really sure how else to say it, quite frankly. They decided to give up before, I think, really giving it a good enough of a push. I understand why they traded Lindor, because they didn't think they were going to re-sign him. But man, I didn't even hear about an attempt to re-sign him this year. It could have been like a Red Sox and Mookie Betts situation where they had been trying throughout the years past, and he was adamant on reaching free agency, and obviously got a huge deal and signed anyway. But Indians, I understand why he did it. It's not really a great look. It's a great look for the Mets, though. New owner, absolutely insanely aggressive right away. I love to see that, man. I love to see that. Man, now what do the Mets do next? Like I said, Lindor. I also think they could bring back the whole Indian squad. Maybe bring in Hand, maybe bring in Kluber to be an extra starter, move Mets to the pen, which is certainly a possible idea they could explore. Another thing is, what will the Indians do next? Do they trade Jose Ramirez and Shane Bieber? I haven't heard anything on that front, but the thing is, we also heard nothing about Lindor before it happened today. So, these moves could be happening more in silence this year, which could be a lot more interesting, but yeah, I mean, I'm just so in shock right now. I mean, this is a move I don't think I would have really ever predicted. I hadn't heard anything about Lindor all offseason. I hadn't really heard anything about the Mets all offseason, other than me talking about Brad Hand. I mean, man, wow. Looking at the NL East right now, I have the Mets and Braves about even, but like I said, I think the Mets will end up moving ahead because I predict they have another move, 2, 3, maybe, somewhere in them. Let's take a second to talk about the NL East, which is a stacked division. So, like I said, Mets, Braves, 1, 2 in some spot. Then I probably have Phillies, Nats, 3, 4 in some order. I think the Phillies and Nats are both going to make some moves, which is why I have them in the 3, 4, but they won't really compare to the Braves and Mets, I believe. And then the Marlins, even though had a breakout year last year, probably still 5, just the victim of falling in a great division. The run differential was still negative last year, so it's tough for me to look too far into them, but they've got a team certainly on the rise, too. That division is going to be a lot of fun to watch for the next few years. So right now, for the Mets, just so we all know, we are looking at a lineup that's going to include the following players: Michael Conforto, Francisco Lindor, Brandon Nimmo, Pete Alonso, Dom Smith, who I love with all my heart. I love him. He is so underrated. J.D. Davis, James McCann, which is looking like an even better signing, I do believe, because that was a way to save money, which they probably will need with possibly bringing in Springer and extending Lindor. So that looks like an even better move for them. I'm very happy about that for them, quite frankly. Makes a lot more sense now. Not that it didn't ever make sense, because, Realmuto was going to ask for a lot of money, but certainly even looks more in their favor right now. Man, the Indians. It's kind of tough for me to even see how quickly the Indians fell apart. They were so close to their World Series, literally within swings of their World Series, and now all the way back. They're still an objectively good team, but they are just about close to rebuilding as a good team can get, I would say. And I'll keep updated on if any other moves happen with them, which certainly seems possible, but man, it's got to really hurt to be an Indians fan right now. It really does. We're going to move on to some other stuff. I'm still in shock. Anyway, the Astros today also signed Ryan Stanek. Pretty good move by the Astros, I believe. Ryan Stanek was most known for being the original opener for the Rays, and he was then traded in the Nick Anderson trade. Nick Anderson, the best reliever in baseball, that is. But Stanek has been solid throughout his career. Wasn't very good last year in a short sample Wasn't really good once he got traded to Miami, but he was very good with whenever he was on the Rays, he was pretty good. So I think this is a good possible upside move for the Astros. It makes a lot of sense, quite frankly. Now we gotta talk about the Dodgers, though. So the Dodgers are interested in a right-handed infielder. So a lot of the names I've been saying will pop up again. DJ LeMahieu, Turner, Nolan Arenado, maybe Chris Bryant. But now I'm also hearing they are interested in Kirby Yates and Liam Hendricks. Man, they are trying to build some bullpen there, I think. And that's in addition to Hendricks I had spoke about earlier, yesterday, I believe. So, man, if they are, they want to win another. They are trying to go back to back. Certainly seems like it. And I'm not sure if any of this is inspired by what the Padres have done. I don't think so. They're just got one. They think they can get more. And I still got them as the favorites, especially if they pull out a couple of good moves here, which I think they will. Last big news of the day is Sugano. I'm not sure. I definitely said that wrong. I apologize. He will be returning back to Japan to pitch for the Giants. Wow, kind of crazy to think about. He was a pretty big name, but 5 o'clock hit today and no one had given him what he was looking for. So he returned to Japan where he has a 4-year deal with 3 opt-outs. So it seems like the market wasn't really just in place for him this year. With a lot of the free agent starters that are out there and the less money being offered, it kind of makes sense for him to go since he has all those opt-outs. So I suspect he'll have a great season in Japan and then come back next year and sign with a team and get a pretty solid deal. So, yeah. That's really all for today. Kind of a short one just to go over what has happened. So we'll just go over everything really quick. Lindor and Carrasco, for who cares? Lindor and Carrasco are members of the New York Mets and look to be a top-tier team next year. And I suspect more will follow up with them. But everyone should be very proud of the Mets owner right now, Stephen Cohen. He's going for it, and those teams that go for it always deserve to be praised. Rough day to be an Indians fan, as they are sharply on the decline now. Ryan Stanek has signed with the Astros. Sugano staying in Japan. Dodgers have a lot of interest in a lot of players and are definitely going to get some guys pretty soon. That's all for today, everyone. Thank you all for listening. Adam signing off.